What to do, my streaming crew? It is I, the one, the only, J to the P to the L, R to Pilo, Mr. L, Pilo, Pablo, whatever you want to call me. What up? How you guys all doing? Hope you guys are enjoying this Thursday afternoon. Figured I gotta go live, and then I gotta start planning what time I'm gonna change these streams to, because I am going back to work tomorrow. Tomorrow's my first day back doing educational stuff. So, welcome, bienvenidos. Hopefully we get a couple of you to start jumping on, streaming with me, and we get things going and we kick it off. But again, welcome. If you haven't already, friended me, followed me, subscribed to me, whatever it is, whatever option, whatever platform you're on, turn on those notifications, follow, like, subscribe, whatever it might be. Don't forget to do that. Show support to this fellow artist, teacher, dad, guy on the internet, content creator, influencer, whatever you want to call it. But make sure you do the follows, the subscribes. What's cracking? I haven't even checked to see what my YouTube stream's looking like right now. But again, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you can hear the music in the background, it's an NCS playlist on Spotify. It's their Infinity playlist. So it's very vlogger, streamer-like type of thing. So that's why I go with it, because I'm getting in trouble for copyrights and infringements and stuff like that. So let me check my YouTube stream real quick. And if you guys want to chop it up with me, ask me a question, talk, Mob Crush is what I stream with on my iPad. That'll let me know if there's a message. It'll pop up on the screen as I'm drawing. The chat room will be open up on my YouTube and on my Twitch. So if you guys want to chop it up that way, you can. You definitely can. But yeah, another day, another stream. It's a Thursday, so welcome. So you guys remember last week we broke down the female figure, and we broke it down how you can draw from the inside out using basic generic shapes. Today is going to be another one of those how-tos, kind of random. It's not as random as it is usually, but we still do random stuff as we draw anyways. We're going to stick to the whole magician-like poses that we did last time on the stream, except this time we'll be drawing a dude. So I'm going to break down the dude's physique, and then get rid of it, and then sketch him out so you guys can see me drawing it without the photo reference on the same page, on the same canvas. But again, like I said, if you guys have any questions, please hit me up on one of the chats, or Mob Crush, or whatever it might be. I'll even get the chat started. I'm going to say hi. But like I said, we're going to stick to the same similar path as last week. And there's my Mob Crush notification. And we'll go from there. But thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me today on this Random Doodles and How-Tos episode 12. I believe it's episode 12 now. That's kind of crazy that I've gone 12 episodes in. Quick thing for you guys on my streams, for those of you tuning in today, do me a favor. I got to switch up the times for the streams now, because like I said earlier, I'm going back into the educational mode, teaching mode. So if you guys can, in the comments or in the chat, let me know what's a good time. I'm thinking of keeping it Tuesdays and Thursdays, or Tuesday and or Thursdays, but I need a good time. So I do like a 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock-ish time. Let me know in the comments or in the chat what's a good time to keep the streams going, as I'm going back into the workforce. As I get to go back to be a teacher. Oh yeah. So please, check that out. Let me know what's going on. So let's start drawing, right? Let's get this bad boy going. Let's do something other than just listen to me for a little bit, which is always good. So, already found a web on the internet. It's funny, right? I found a photo on the internet that I want to use as our reference for today. There's nothing wrong with using artistic reference, finding photos to help you out. Sometimes we get stumped, and then it's hard to figure out our pose, and then we get super mad, and then we throw away a piece of paper. Except for this time, I'm working digitally, so I'm not going to throw away my iPad. But there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to swipe down with 3 fingers, And I'm gonna paste our reference for today. Some random dude. I like the pose because I don't know, it just screams energy. I don't even know who this random dude is, so don't ask. It's just some random dude I Googled. So I'm gonna leave that there. If you guys are wondering how I increase the size of the photo, just pinch and zoom as it's still in its transform mode. So, let me create a new layer for the sake of the demo. I got my fat pencil set up. And you know what, for the sake of it, let's lower the opacity on this guy just a little bit. That way you can see my pencil line better. So again, we're gonna break everything down into the shapes and the ideas. Always make sure you're working on the right layer or else you mess everything up. Tell that to my students all the time when we're working in Photoshop or Illustrator. Make sure you're on the right layer, guys. So, if we zoom into this guy, we got the face, we got the arm. So where's our line of action, right? So everything's always been basic generic shapes. So this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, maybe like this. Maybe we have to 3D them a little bit. But it's usually these little shapes, right? These guys right here. So as we continue with the process, the same thing, right? Let me shrink down the size of my pencil a little bit. And let's draw in the shapes that belong into this figure. Let's actually use a brighter color. Obviously, we can see where the eyes are in this case. And my circle actually should be bigger because the head goes this way. Got that. Got my jawline. Because then our ear goes here. And this line goes back here. So, right here would be my cheekbones, right? This guy's a little bit rounder, but, you know, you get my drift. And here's another shape. That goes into this part right here. So if we're looking for our line of action, it's pretty straight up. It's just this bam right here. And then you got the legs, right? So if we zoom in and try to break them down a little bit more, we got his rib cage, which if you guys remember last week when I mentioned it, it's kind of like this egg shape, like so. Now if we're going at an angle, and then we get more boxy into the mix, but it's kind of this shape right here. So let's find that shape. Like so. On the top of the sternum right here, which gives us our rib cage, right? And then, okay, so here's the thing, right? His arms are up in the air, which means ideally, if you're into this stuff and you know how the human figure works, then you know his chest muscles are going up with the arms. They're not like this time. They're more like this. Because his arms are up. So they're being pulled. Instead of just static. So, which means the triangle shape that I mentioned last week that usually goes here, it's a little bit more squashed because now got the top right here of our arms flexing up into this area. You got your cylinder, your tapered cylinder that goes in just like so. And it's like I said, and like I've said in all my episodes so far, it is the idea of these shapes that connect to each other. Like building Legos, if you're an old school 80s kid like I was, and it's like building Voltron or the Transformers, and you got the Constructicons coming together. It's all the same concept. It's just finding the angles. And the cool thing about understanding how this all works out on the whole shape term is that I've noticed and I've learned and I've heard from other professionals that if you can break these things down to shapes, the people, the superheroes, the vehicles, then you can draw these bad boys at any angle because you have that understanding. So let's continue to work on that understanding. Let's keep practicing that concept and go from there. So we had the shape, then we got the hips, right? Then we got the legs. So the legs, again, it's cylinders, like so. Got the kneecap. And then ideally, since I'm assuming this leg's a little more forward, and this leg's probably going to be sticking out a little bit more, give or take. And like I said last time too, don't be afraid to draw through your figure. Nothing wrong with drawing through your drawings. That's why if you do it light, later on in the process, you can ink it all out, trace it all, or ink over it, and with tracing paper or however it is that you develop a style to work with, and then bam. I'm assuming his feet aren't that big. He's just got a wide foot, so he needs a bigger foot. But again, if you look at this bad boy, you can see, ideally, all the shapes that go into creating this character. So if I zoom into the hand, let me make my brush smaller. We kind of have these shapes playing here. And then you got your fingers, which are just like cylinders. But again, it's these shapes that if we learn them, we get them, we make it happen, and then bam. In this case, it's more like this. I want to say we do a little foreshortening over here because it's just going out in limbo somewhere over here. But, you know, we get that concept. Like even with this pose, whether I make him a magician or some other character, you know, it's these basic shapes that we're going to work from. So hopefully that's another little rundown. I'm going to try to do this every episode so that it becomes embedded and you see it. The more you see it, the more that it's going to start to make sense, and the more you want to try it yourself, and it becomes something cool. It's something that you actually get more of an understanding about and with when it comes down to this art stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever watched some of my rebroadcasts on either Twitch or one of the other platforms. It's weird because for some odd reason, like the first 5-10 minutes of my recording, I sound like one of the chipmunks. My voice is super fast and I haven't figured out why it does that yet. Maybe it's the whole streaming and decoding sense, but it is what it is. So let me clear out layer number 2. So now we have our guy there, right? Clear that out one too many times. I'm gonna shrink this down. He's just gonna be a reference. Like I don't really need it all there. It's funny because like I always look at these poses whenever I'm like stuck in a rut. I'm like, well, who could this person be? I was thinking Dr. Fate, but Dr. Fate wouldn't have his arms up like booyah. That's just not the Dr. Fate way, right? But there's one DC character that I can feel would take this type of pose because it's just in his nature. So let's get things going. Increase my opacity. Move my brush size a little bit. Make sure I'm on the wrong layer. Always, again, like I said, make sure you're working on the right layer. Like this whole digital iPad platform, I'm still getting comfortable with, getting used to how it works. So sometimes I make mistakes. But guess what? I'm human. It happens. You'll make mistakes too. It's just natural. And then you just clear the layer and start over. So let's get our shapes going. Thanks, Mob Crush. I thought I was going live right now. So head, line of action. And if I want to, I can click and drag and then make a perfect line, but it doesn't matter. Get that rib cage in there. And I'm going to get my selection tool. And I'm going to move this head up a little bit. My pencil's back on. Put my jaw. And then make a couple adjustments. And again, I'm just roughing this out. It doesn't have to be perfect. Eventually later, if I get the chance, I'll come back in, clean it all out more. So I mentioned to you guys in the previous streams that there's this weird triangular shape right here that helps build this part of our shoulders. But in this case, arms are up, so it's going to be less of an actual piece. It's going to be more squash and stretch to it. Like, honestly, this guy might go up higher because of the way the arms are going this way. And again, I'm just using those basic generic shapes to build in the character, or what I want to happen. And then we go from there. You know, we build up from there. And this is getting messy fast. Gotta get those hips in there. And then clean it up as I go. I'm just trying to rough everything out. Do I give him like more powerful legs? And then I can just hit this guy and start to shrink him down. Shrink him down some more. And then we zoom in so we can actually start cleaning stuff up. Occasionally at this point I'll like lower the opacity on this sketch and then come over and start fine-tuning stuff. Like I would probably take this guy right here and pull him back. And this tool right here that I'm using, it's new to Procreate. It's only been out a few weeks. This, if you're a Photoshop guy or gal, is similar to the Puppet Warp. So you can adjust your poses as you need. But that's kind of the reference to in Illustrator. If you're a vector person, that would be similar to like your envelope distort. Got my pencil back on. Switch up the color a little bit. This muscle will go that way. We got the bottom of the try. Got the bicep reaching up. Outside the rib cage. And since he's stretched out more, It definitely changes the dynamic of the body. Like I would probably, in the sake of what I'm doing here, to make the pose more dynamic, just standing straight up, I might pull the legs out more. Like so. That it's more of a It gives the pose a little bit more energy. Definitely gives the pose a little bit more energy. Actually, should probably be out here more. And this one's closer. So just like that. I might not even have this right here because of how it's set up. And like so. Sorry if I got a little quiet there. I was in the zone focusing. So if I now hit my little N right here, drop the opacity down just a tad so I can kind of see what's going on. And then I'm going to switch up my color for the sake of what's going to happen next after I create a new layer. And let's get in here. And I'm going to actually make my pencil a lot thinner. I'm going to start a little structure to the face. Get the ear in there. You know what I'm going for already is just, I gotta make sure it plays in right. Get my eraser, clean that up a little bit. Prison nose will kind of hide most of this stuff. Make my pencil smaller. And make my eraser a little bit smaller and fix that nose. It's just too flat. Bam. Thank you, thank you. No need for applaud. I love you all. Alright, so if you're on here with me, whether it's one of the different streaming platforms, let me know who you think this is going to be. Pretty simple, right? It's like, yo, I think it's so-and-so. And then if it is, it is. If it's not, well, no harm, no foul. And don't be scared to rotate your canvas. It helps out. Trust me. Let's see. My internet's lagging. What's going on here? What in the world? There we go. I erase all my extra lines I added in there. And then make some adjustments here. Boom. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. Anybody have a guess yet? Do you guys know who you think this might be? Come on, somebody. Boom. Boom. Oops. And I try whenever they have a costume on to have it, in a sense, work with the way it would overlap on the muscles. Since I'm like in the distance, so kind of do lose it there a little bit. And again, you know, it's just these little, it's all shapes within shapes within shapes to build on top of each other to give us the character or the person we're trying to develop or the thing we're trying to draw. Boom, ba boom, boom, ba boom. Boom, bitty boom. Doop-a-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. I'm just gonna go ahead and give him a hand. I'll fix the angles later. So there's that. I probably could have given him more hair. The cool thing about digital, I can just erase. And then match whatever shapes are on his suit to those that are or would be manipulated by the way he is standing or moving. Oopsie doopsie. Get my eraser. Let's fix this up a little bit. It's the worst start ever. But ideally, again, it's all these shapes that I've shown you at the start of the stream that help build up this character, give him life. That was too low. And then you get all these little ridges on this side. If you want to get that, or get that detail, or just keep it simplified. Because in reality, there's a bunch of muscles here and a bunch of muscles here that go down into creating every other little piece of the body and the arms. Boom. Boom. Foot. Boom, bitty boom. And then bam, you got booster gold. Hope you guys guessed that. That'd be pretty cool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You got a little info session out of this. You got a little how-to, a little fun, and you enjoyed it. You got something out of this. You felt educated. But I want to say, catch us on the rebroadcast. It streams pretty much forever on my YouTube channel, and then for I believe 14 days on Twitch, and so on and so forth. Don't forget, you can always subscribe, turn on notifications, like, follow, whatever it is the platform you're watching me on does. And hopefully you enjoyed today's random doodle and how-to. Do me a favor though, tell a friend, share this with somebody, anybody, somebody, your mom, your dad, somebody, and then we'll go from there. So, like I said, if you're still watching me, hit me up in the comments or in the chat and let me know what time on a Tuesday or Thursday would be a good time to continue these streams. Because like I said, I'm going back into the classroom and I probably won't be home till after the 3 o'clock hour. And that's on the West Coast time because we are in California. But again, thank you guys for streaming. I'm going to bounce out because I got to do things before I got to do things tomorrow. But hopefully you guys had a good time. And thank you.